Niggas ain't f***ing with me. When I catch academic, I'ma squeeze them titties. Nigga, I'ma squeeze your breasts. Nigga, let the tips hit your chest. How the tips hit your chest? Gangsta Gibbs, I'm the best.
Frederick Jamel Tipton, aka Freddie Gibbs, born June 14th, 1982. The first thing I want you to understand about today's feature is Freddie Gibbs is a troll. He also just may be genius. Nothing he does on the internet is ever serious to him or means more than finally getting notoriety for his rap career. He's not a bad person or makes bad decisions. I actually think everything he does on the internet is calculated and intentional because he understands the era we live in, especially around the mid to late 2010s where the troll era really began to cross over mainstream. But did that all ruin what genuinely could have been a great career, where his peers embraced him over time instead of feeling his burnt bridges are too hot to repair? I can't say I'm the biggest fan of his sound, but I do understand why his fans think the world of him. He's technically gifted with how he uses words, he does have a voice that's unique, and his music does have substance to it, unlike many of the popular rappers in the game. But music is subjective, and for me, Freddie Gibbs is an artist I'm cool admiring from afar. For you, you may think he's the realest rapper in the game. I've literally seen that comment before. That said, I do feel I understand what's happened to Freddie Gibbs' career, and most of what fans call his downfall really didn't have much to do with the music. Keep in mind, downfall is also subjective because in some eyes, you would see the things Freddie Gibbs is involved in on the internet and assume he's on a downtrot because maybe you never liked him as a rapper in the first place. But statistically, Freddie Gibbs' career is arguably at its most relevant. On that note, 20 years in the game is a feat most rappers don't accomplish according to history, showing us a rap career and/or relevance in hip-hop usually lasts 3 to 5 years, with most taking significant steps back at some point after their debut album. Musically, I think Freddie Gibbs is just fine with support from the fans that do respect him and enjoy his stories of navigating his hood upbringing, where on one side your father works for the police department and for the most part shelters you from the trappings, but on the other side you want to be a popular rapper. Whether his rap stories are authentic or not, Freddie Gibbs was making a real name for himself in the music industry that may have led to a bigger rap career, but for these reasons, he may have instead reached his peak, all to be the biggest rap troll ever. What happened? Let's talk about it. Salute to I Am the Twin on IG for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Freddie Gibbs is a rapper from Gary, Indiana, whose mother was a singer and aspiring industry talent, and father also a singer and entertainer, who Freddie remembers stories of competing against Michael Jackson in talent shows in Indiana when they both were young. Freddie Gibbs would see examples of his parents being turned down in the music industry and understandably never wanted to be a part of it. But his father was such a fan of rap music, through him playing it around the house and in the car so much, Freddie gravitated to it and eventually began writing raps on his own. That's of course when he didn't have sports practice, seeing he was a star football player as well, good enough to receive a scholarship from Ball State. He was arrested for an illegal firearm at 19, then a theft case while the gun charge was pending, and had to serve in an army boot camp to avoid prison. One he was dishonorably discharged from for smoking weed. It's after this he really focused on making music, connecting with Indiana producer Finger Roll, whose studio he'd used to work on his craft. Stunt number 1, The Beef with Young Jeezy.
I was trying to get him a deal, but I couldn't. It was a lot of frustration there.
For Freddie Gibbs, nothing in the music industry came easy or handed to him. He made strategic moves and was gifted at connecting his resources in a way you rarely see rappers be good at doing. From releasing music out of Finger Roll's studio, he connected to Interscope intern Ben Lambert, who loved his music and introduced it to his label. After some time and negotiation, Gibbs was finally signed and off to the races. That was 2004. Freddie Gibbs would still remain harshly underground, releasing mixtapes until 2009, sometimes 2 to 4 a month. He goes independent after the A&R that signed him, Joe 3H, left Interscope for Warner and releases the Label's Trying to Kill Me mixtape, followed by the Miseducation of Freddie Gibbs and Midwest Gangsta Box Frame Cadillac music that got him a little buzz on the blogs, along with the work behind the scenes with his management to secure placements. A huge one came when XXL called for him to be a part of the 2010 freshman list, and he agreed. A year and many mixtapes later, he was signed to Young Jeezy's CTE label in 2011, with Jeezy promising to do better than Interscope did. But when months went by with no progress, Freddie began to approach Jeezy about his situation, and eventually he left CTE and went independent. According to Jeezy, Freddie's issues stemmed from him not being able to find Freddie the major label deal he promised because no one was biting. Freddie accused him of spending too much time on himself as an artist, and the two went back and forth until Freddie made the mistake of bringing it to the internet. Once he did that, he burnt numerous bridges to opportunity. He began calling Jeezy a fake gangster and irrelevant, while Jeezy pretty much ignored him. According to Jeezy, he tried getting Gibbs on, but just no one would take him. Either way, this burnt industry bridge spilled out into a burnt bridge with some of the fans who feel it ungrateful to diss a guy that put you out there as far as anyone caring for your music. Many fans may have misunderstood why he did what he did. They just know he dissed their beloved Jeezy, trolling him every chance he got, and it all made him less attractive. Stunt number 2, getting beat up multiple times. Freddie Gibbs was starting to release albums beginning in 2013 and about one every 2 years that were charting independently but declining every year for the rest of the decade. In 2022, not sure if he made up his mind to use trolling to get further by any means, but he made a comment about Jim Jones.
Jim Jones throw up, the VL, that vampire shit. I ain't with it, man.
Insinuating Jones was portraying a real Vice Lord gangster and he didn't believe or respect it. Jones and a few of his henchmen caught up to Freddie at a restaurant called Prime 112 and proceeded to move furniture, with the result being Freddie Gibbs came out on the losing end. He denied everything in troll fashion as far as him being beaten up, although the internet could see what it really was. Then the very next year, Freddie Gibbs tweets something about rappers rapping gangsta lyrics after they were robbed, and it caught the eye of Benny Butcher, who had recently been a victim of being shot and robbed in Houston off guard. The two had worked together prior, and to Benny were cool, so this shot came as a surprise. While in Buffalo, Benny's hometown, for a scheduled performance, Gibbs goes out to eat with his girlfriend and is approached by men assumed to be Benny's crew, and hands and feet are allegedly put on Freddie, taking his watch and his girl's chain. Gibbs continues to troll the situation online, and the ties between he and Griselda had been broken. Another bridge burned, with he and anyone who supported Griselda's rise at that point, including Jay-Z, who the group had ties to, and possibly Jay-Z's ties as well. Another incident, his trolling may have affected his career. His underground fans still appreciated his music, but as we all know, it takes more than one group liking your work to be seen as an artist that can draw large crowds and is worthy of being compensated as such. Stunt number 3, beef with academics and baby moms. With Freddie Gibbs' image as a known troll at this point, even Instagram banning him for his content multiple times, he and academics began to troll back and forth online, starting with academics responding to Freddie calling Jeezy irrelevant, saying, well, if Jeezy is irrelevant, then what does that make you if you were signed to him and you never became as big as he was as an artist? Things got personal online, but taken to the extreme when academics, hip-hop culture's biggest internet professional troll, begins interviewing Freddie Gibbs' baby mother and adult star, who was disgruntled with Gibbs for not protecting her at the restaurant in Buffalo, among other things. She starts saying everything to hurt Freddie Gibbs' image to academics, things grown men aren't expected to do, that a gangsta rapper's career would be over if found to be true. She goes everywhere on a Freddie Gibbs parade tour, further denting his image by appearing with Benny the Butcher, who was not too long ago accused of robbing her for her chain. She even goes on to call Freddie a deadbeat father to his son and more. He released an album September 2022, which became his highest charting album of his catalog. A gift and a curse because the number is there, but the burnt bridges to get it may affect him ever seeing that number again going forward, now that ties will be tough to come by. He hasn't released an album or full-length project since. All in all, Freddie Gibbs has never been talked about more, so does he really lose in the end? Sure, his image of being beaten up by other rappers, robbed for his jewelry, his girl robbed for her jewelry, dating a porn star and getting her pregnant, and losing troll-offs with internet bloggers does not look good for his internet image, but it's given him an image nonetheless he's never had before. Now that he's getting notoriety, does it hurt his potential growth in the end is the question. Either way, for these reasons, his growth has been stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.